to open evacuation shelters because people can move to higher ground, and that's what they should. But later on, after it hits, they have to be aware that they might not be able to return to their homes, so that if there is substantial damage to their home and they cannot go back, that is the point when we might open congregate care shelters for the longer term. But as far as evacuation shelters, we're not opening any at this time, and it's up to civil defense to make that call.
Coralie, are there any specific areas, I know there are a lot of them throughout all the islands, any specific areas that you are maybe targeting in particular, going out into those neighborhoods to make sure that people are safe?
I know that civil defense is probably combing the beaches for people that are, living there, and they always do that when there's even high surf. But it's just the inundation zones, and Hilo is supposed to be hit first. But it's important to emphasize that when you leave your home, leave it as if you might not be able to go back, and have the 5 to 7 days worth of food and water, legal documents, medication, all of the things that you will need if you can't go back.
Coralie, I know recently some of the American Red Cross employees and volunteers headed to American Samoa to help with the relief effort there following their tsunami. Did that prepare anyone and give your workers a better idea of what we could be up against?
Well, yes. There were 15 Hawaii volunteers that went down there, and they saw the devastation firsthand. And so it's not to be taken lightly. In fact, when they were down there, there was a second tsunami scare, which got called off, but they had to go from village to village to, tell people to move to higher ground. That's the most important thing at this point, is for people to get out of the area, but not to panic. There's some time.
Well, thank you so much, Coralie, and obviously we know that you will continue to keep us updated on what's happening. We'll keep watching the clock here. Right now, 6:15, 5 hours to go before we are expected to get ready, and we are understanding that they're telling people to prepare to evacuate at 6 a.m., and that's why the city of Honolulu is circulating those evacuation buses at this hour now.
That's right, and we have some things to keep note of. Kaneohe, Waikiki, Sunset Beach, none of them got sirens, so if you want to call maybe perhaps some of your friends and family in those areas to make sure that they're up, that they're wary of the situation, that they're prepared, please do so throughout the morning. And a couple of, there are some closures to talk about. Of course, Hilo Airport, that closed at about 6 o'clock this morning. And also Costco Waipio, if you're looking to stock up, they just opened 5 hours ahead of time. So go out there, get your toiletries, get your water, get your food, but be prepared for some incredibly long lines.
That's right. Perhaps pack some patience this morning. We are seeing a lot of people starting to get up and go get what they are going to need. Again, you need to have a 5 to 7 day supply of food and water for each person, and just to be prepared just in case. It's a good idea to have those handy even if this turns out to be just a warning and no actual problems.
That's right, and a couple more cancellations. The Kona Little League baseball games, they're canceled this morning. West Coast Hawaii Little League, Hamakua Little League, and the Kona Coast Little League. Kamehameha Teacher Institute Day at King Intermediate, that is also canceled. So a lot of things going on. Obviously, the big threat of a tsunami coming in, that takes precedent over a lot of the events that were planned for today.
Certainly, and a lot of the word we're getting from emergency responders is please do not get on the road unless it's an absolute necessity, medical emergency, things like that, because we do expect to see people out there, and that could cause additional problems.
Obviously, there's a lot of concern out there on the roads. This is not related to anything tsunami related. It's a fire truck, obviously, arriving at the scene. It looks like the Alawai Boat Harbor, or just right near Alawai Boat Harbor. Emergency crews have arrived on the scene.
And they need to be able to get through. So if we have a lot of people hitting the roads to get their supplies, gas, things like that, they'll have a harder time getting to people who might need assistance, perhaps not even related to the tsunami or what we're dealing with today.
That's right. That's one of the things that Kirk Caldwell had talked about earlier this morning. Stay off the roads if at all possible. Let's just take a listen in.
Tsunami affected mostly Hilo and to a lesser extent the rest of the state, but nobody else got devastated like Hilo. So is that the case today? I don't know.
And here we are at 11:05. This has been the latest time estimates we've been getting from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. So again, we're keeping our eyes just intently posed on our exclusive Hilo camera to detect any noticeable changes of activity. And Guy, a lot of people think of a tsunami, they might think of just this wall of water racing on shore, which of course it is, which has an incredible threat, but also some of the debris that could be flying. will also be a potential problem.
You're right. Yeah, Steve, the tsunami is warning, and you're right about that. That's the big danger, Tanya, is the debris field. The initial wave that's going to come in is going to be filled with the boulders from the sea.
A former representative who says he was there in 1960 in Hilo, and he said, do not take this lightly. Stay safe, even though nothing seemingly has occurred right now.
And I think right now we are actually working on a picture all the way out in Washington, D.C.